Hey everyone, it's actually Jeb Bush, and we are just over 2 months away from the start of the new NBA season and therefore the start of a new NBA SoRare season. So I figured this was a prime time to go through every single NBA player on the SoRare marketplace and find the best buy low and best sell high opportunities. Now, before we get started, if you don't have a SoRare account, go ahead and check out the affiliate link in the description below for an exclusive deal so you don't miss out on the fun this season. As always, please remember that this video is not financial advice. Smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And let's get started. Now, my first buy low target is a player that I think people are sleeping on after a lackluster season full of injuries last year. He is without a doubt the number one option on his team, which should be competitive, trying to secure a playoff spot and make a run in the playoffs this season. While I don't think many people would label him as a superstar in the traditional sense, he has shown in past seasons that he has that ceiling capability. That plus his relatively low cap going into the first week of the season and his just extremely low price when he's compared to any of his peers kind of considered at that level. I'm talking about none other than Jimmy Butler. Now, look, I am aware that Jimmy Butler had a pretty lackluster season last year, full of injuries and no-shows. However, if we just want to talk about the price of Jimmy Butler's cards right now, it just seems like a massive market inefficiency. Last year, during this mediocre season from Butler, he was still having games where he would drop over 50 SoRare points. And when you go on the marketplace right now and look for any all-star level player, their floor is at least $10, if not closer to 30. That's why this just seems like a no-brainer of a buy low right now. And look, I think we're getting an extremely motivated, pissed off Jimmy Butler this season. Once the Heat were eliminated from the playoffs, Pat Riley had some words that Jimmy Butler, I'm sure, wasn't a fan of. He did not get the giant contract that he was expecting from the Heat, and he seems to be pretty healthy going into this season. As a result, I think Jimmy is going to play a lot more this season. I think he's going to have some big games. I think he's going to play angry. And if the Heat end up trading him to a team like the Rockets, I think he's going to play even angrier. And he's going to have an even bigger chip on his shoulder. And he is going to be trying to put up big, giant numbers to really stick it to the Heat. On top of that, there's a very solid chance that no matter what happens with Jimmy Butler this season, he's going to be in the playoffs. So not only will you get the advantage of a healthy, pissed off, trying to get a contract Jimmy Butler, but he's going to be going into the playoffs, and we all know Jimmy Butler is a different animal during the playoffs. Moving on to our second buy low, let's take a look at a third-year guard who is super athletic, 6'6", and is moving into a starting role on a super competitive team. And that player is Christian Braun. Now, Christian Braun has a cap of 11 with a limited floor price of $3 and a rare floor price of $30. And like I said, we already know what's going on with Christian Braun going into this season. The Nuggets are looking to come back with a vengeance after getting eliminated in the second round by the Minnesota Timberwolves. KCP, who had a pretty important role in those Nuggets teams, recently signed with the Orlando Magic. And that open spot is about to get filled by Christian Braun. Like I said before, he's only in his third year, but the Nuggets have really high hopes for him, and he's shown some pretty incredible flashes, including 2 years ago in the NBA Finals. I might be reading into things a little too much here because I do like Christian Braun, but it really seems like he is locked in for this season. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to prove that he can help this Nuggets team win another ring. On top of that, the fact that his cap is at 11 makes him an ideal play going into the first week of the NBA. Similar to Jimmy Butler, I feel like Christian Braun's price is low enough that you should at least scoop one so you really have some flexibility building your lineups the first week. Once again, this just seems like a pretty solid no-brainer to me, especially if you're trying to get his limited card. There really isn't a lot of room for it to dip much lower, and the reward far outweighs the risk. I think there's a pretty decent chance that Christian Braun will be needed for an optimal lineup for the first week or two of the NBA season. And like I said, Christian Braun has shown some pretty impressive flashes just very early in his career, and he's playing with an incredible dynamic player such as Jokic. So you know he's going to get a lot of open opportunities, a lot of easy shots, a lot of easy finishes, and the game is going to be made a lot easier for him. So I'm definitely scooping up 1 or 2 Christian Browns before the NBA SoRare season starts. Now for our third and final buy low of this video, I have another third-year player who is also super athletic and has shown some pretty incredible ceiling flashes very early in his career, and that player is Benedict Mathurin. Now, Benedict Mathurin has a cap of 24. His limited card will run you about $3.50, and the floor price on his rare card is around $47 at time of recording. Benedict Mathurin is a member of the Indiana Pacers, who were recently swept in the Eastern Conference Finals by the Boston Celtics. And if the Pacers want any chance at returning to the Eastern Conference Finals, they're going to need Benedict Mathurin to take a huge jump and to be a big part of this team. Now, unlike Christian Braun, Benedict Mathurin will be starting this season coming off the bench. However, I do think there is a really solid chance that Mathurin is in the starting lineup sooner rather than later. Very early into his career, Benedict Mathurin has shown that he can do a little bit of everything. He's a pretty solid rebounder. He can play make. He can shoot threes. He can drive to the rim and finish with strength. There's a lot of things that I liked about Benedict Mathurin that can really help him rack up SoRare points on both sides of the ball. On top of that, playing with a pass-first point guard in Tyrese Halliburton will give Mathurin plenty of opportunities for easy open buckets. Now, unlike Jimmy Butler and Christian Braun, with a cap of 24, I don't think Mathurin is an automatic play in week 1 or even week 2. However, he's a player that I want to grab now in case he does take that next step. His speed and offensive abilities on a Pacers team that will probably average the most points per game in the NBA this season is an ideal recipe for NBA SoRare this season. So I'm making sure that I have Mathurin on my squad before the NBA season starts. So now that we've covered our 3 buy lows for this video, we're going to move on to our sell highs. And in this video, we're going to do it a little bit differently than we usually do. And that's because instead of giving you 3 specific players, we're going to talk about a group as a whole that I think you should sell high on. And that group of players is the NBA rookie class from last year. Specifically, the higher costing players such as Wemby, Chet, and Gigi Jackson. But this concept can be applied as a whole, like I said, to every player who was an NBA rookie last year. Now, because this is the 3rd NBA SoRare season, we've already seen what happens when additional circulation of a player enters the marketplace. A player that had a lot of value because their cards were pretty limited as a rookie suddenly has way more cards available. And as a result, the price of the cards overall starts to dip. So the overall strategy here is to go through your collection and find the rookie cards from last year and just check their prices and check their circulation and go ahead and sell them if you think you're getting a solid return on them, because there's a pretty decent chance you're going to get some additional circulation of that player this following season, and the price is going to take a dip. Now, look, if you have a rookie from last year that you're really excited to play in the first couple of weeks of this NBA season, then don't feel obligated to sell him. Let's use the easiest and most obvious example here in Wemby, who has a floor price of around $224 right now. While I'm fairly confident that we'll see that floor price dip a bit as new Wembys enter circulation, if you have a Wemby and you feel like you can put together a very competitive lineup with him, then maybe that's what you want to do. Because if you end up taking the contest down, maybe you get a second Wemby. Like I said, I just think it's a really good idea to take a look at your collection before the season starts and see if there are any rookies that you can turn into some solid liquid funds that you can maybe put into one of our buy lows that we talked about earlier in the video. And with that being said, we've reached the end of the first buy low, sell high video going into the 2024-2025 NBA SoRare season. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. It's free. It's easy to do, and it helps me out a lot. Also, feel free to leave a comment below and let me know who you're targeting as your buy low and sell high options going into this season. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next video. Please clap.